Welcome in, guys, to the fourth edition of the Scarves and Spikes rating episode, which feels a little bit like a funeral after 6-1 loss to Columbus last night. Just not a good day for soccer in Atlanta. Not at all. It was just a bad day.
You thought there was going to be no rain? There's no rain. You figured, all right, we're set. But maybe the rain is what made Atlanta good in Columbus.
I mean, it at least made them not lose 6-1. That was bad.
I hate Star Wars. I hate Star Wars night. There was Darth Vaders everywhere. No, yellow Darth Vaders. Get out of here with that. Like, I'm never watching a Star Wars film ever again.
Before we get started, both of you have seen Star Wars, right?
Oh, yeah.
Love Star Wars, actually.
Kevin, I have never seen it, but I feel vindicated because our good friend Kevin Negan said he has never seen it.
I heard that.
So I'm vindicated. I just want to throw it out.
None of them? Like, none of them?
Apparently none of them. That's what he was telling Kinder DC and Aubin on Apple TV yesterday. So I feel vindicated.
Oh, well, I'm going to send you my Disney Plus login, and we're gonna do, these could be our Patreon episodes. Sydney goes through Star Wars for the first time. We'll do watch-alongs. Like, we'll record your face. I don't want to talk about the game. Let's just talk about you've never seen Star Wars. Have you seen The Hobbit?
No,
oh my God! Have you seen The Mighty Ducks?
Yeah, of course. Come on.
Okay, all right, we're good. All right, we're good.
That I have.
We're good.
All right, guys. I think we're just delaying this too long. Let's just get it over with. All right.
Delaying the inevitable. All right, it is what it is. By the way, if you guys don't know, this is live from not live. You guys are watching after the fact, but we're recording it. I'm recording it from the Atlanta sponsored Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, Eggleston. So that's why my background looks different for anybody that doesn't know. But throwing that out there, so I don't know, the long-standing question of where the heck are you, Tyler, doesn't come up in the comments. I'm at Eggleston. So, all right, that's enough delaying, I guess. Diving straight into it. Straight into it. The first one, I say one, the trio of the midfield that Atlanta had last night. The starting trio, which was all the players were Santiago Sosa, Franco Ibarra, and who? And who?
Amar Sejdic.
I'm going to look, and by the way, I don't have my board, so I'm throwing up hand signs for this one.
I feel like you're going to need just one hand for today.
I am. I'm not going to need the second one at all.
Nope, not at all.
Y'all ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Go with it.
Hey, one. I thought about doing one, but I'm trying not to be, that upset today. But have you ever seen a group of guys that look like they've never played together before? Like, they were running on top of each other. The passes just like they didn't know where the other ones were going. You've got two guys that basically are slow with Sosa and Ibarra. Like, they weren't moving very fast. Sejdic is just trying to move it forward. He just doesn't have that vision that I think we're spoiled with Almada. But he couldn't make a good pass moving forward, and the play just died in the midfield with him, unfortunately.
Well, and I will play devil's advocate a little bit. We kind of knew, like, a gamble. This was a gamble coming into this match because, in theory, everybody should know their role, right? Like, you should be able to make like-for-like subs, and everybody kind of knows what everybody should be doing. But that just did not translate in this match. It was like you had Sosa and Ibarra, who I think wanted to occupy the same space, and which that's their normal position, but it just didn't work. They were bunching up so bad. The passes were frantic. They were, just off. Sejdic, I mean, I give props to Sejdic for trying to make things happen, but there was just so many plays that, the pass was way too far ahead, or it was straight to a Columbus defender. Everything was just off. It was so disjointed, and there's just, unfortunately, it was also a lot of individual mistakes. The trio just didn't work well together. It's not to say they can't work well together, but this was not the game for them at all.
Yeah, I kind of echo what both of you are saying, and I put 3 as well, Tommy. So I kind of agree with you on that. Just such a regressive showing than what we've been used to with this team thus far. Hasetu, of course, was able to start. He was available for selection as he recovers from his hamstring. He came out later on, but just the midfield just had to be much better than it was last night. I looked at how much space a lot of times Columbus players had throughout the middle of the park. It's just incredible to see in a bad way. Just
Yeah.
I don't want to keep piling on because you guys have said it already, but just a bad showing, bad performance. Your midfield makes everything click on your club, on your team, and nothing was clicking last night. Very little was clicking, so just difficult to watch. And yeah, less said the better.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like this whole game, I think everybody should look at it as you just got to move past it. You've got to put this one out of your memory. Like there is a lot to learn from it. I think from like a film review type standpoint, and I hope that it's looked very, very in depth. But from a morale standpoint, you just got to be done with it. It was crap. Number 2, Luiz Araujo.
Oh man,
I got mine. Tommy, looks like you have yours.
I'm ready. I'm trying not to give zeros, guys. I'm
Real
trying.
quick, because look, this week is so thrown off. For everybody listening after the fact on the podcast, Sydney gave a 3, Tommy gave a 3, I gave a 1. So just throwing that out there for you guys. I don't know if it was mentioned out loud.
Sorry, yeah. I don't think I said mine.
All right, Araujo, what we got?
1.5.
Oh,
Okay, well,
1.5. I have 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of grading on a curve. We all know. I was hoping to see much more from Luiz than what we saw last night, especially the form he's been on against Charlotte and against Portland. But like the rest of the team, just a massive step back. We were talking about before the show, how Luiz tends to disappear when he doesn't get his way. He tends to pout. He tends to let his shoulders drop. He just loses all confidence when things just go downhill. I think yesterday was just a sign of that. As the only DP that is with the team right now, you want so much more from him. You want to see that he can lead this team. He can do the things that he needs to do to be successful. He can help them get over the hump, especially with so many of their other key players missing, and he didn't do that. And I don't want to overstate things with him, but as good as his form had been over the past couple games, he just was a non-factor. And you have to have your DP step up. That's why you paid him. That's why he's here. And I'm not on this sell Luiz, get rid of Luiz bandwagon, but it's got to be better for him. And while we can say this for a lot of players on the pitch, when your highest paid player on the team isn't performing, that's an issue, and just very disappointed from Luiz. Maybe 3 is a little bit too generous for him, or maybe it's right on. But again, kind of grading out the curve just a little bit, but just a rough showing from Luiz.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's frustrating because I think he got frustrated early on. Barry put a pass in, waited a little bit too long. Araujo would have been in, had an opportunity to score. They let the play go. He didn't score. I would have liked to even if you would have liked to see it go in, right? That builds a little bit of the confidence. It was saved, and that was the beginning of the frustration for Luiz. After that, there were a lot of plays like it's MLS. It's a physical league, and players get very physical with him, and they know that he gets frustrated. Sound familiar? Pity Martinez, right? And it just kept going on, and the refs, he was, I won't say he was abusing the refs, but he just, every time he was touched, he's screaming at the refs. And he got a few calls, but overall, I mean, they allowed the play to go, and he's kind of getting, in my opinion, a he's known for this now, right? Like he's known. Yeah, like thank you. I mean he's gonna whine and he's gonna complain and he's staying down a little bit longer than he's supposed to. And that's getting frustrating with him. And we talk about the salary cap, like just to add what you said there, Sydney. Like it's unfortunate because I saw in other chats today, like why is everybody so hard on Luiz? And that's the way MLS is, and that's what we talked about with Joseph last year, right? Like unfortunately, Joseph's a DP and he has to perform, and with Luiz, that's something to get worried about. For me, it's too early to get frustrated. He did score in 2 games in a row, and so that's a positive. And this was just a bad game for everybody. But he needs to have a good game against the Red Bulls for to really go up. If he has another bad performance with a physical Red Bulls team, then I'm going to be worried.
Let me say this real quick before you jump in, Tyler. You mentioned MLS is a physical league, and I thought about Barco. Barco would get fouled a ton when he was with Atlanta United, and I guess technically he still is, but he would get fouled a ton. And for all the flack that he took, you didn't really see him complain and pout and whine a whole lot. I mean, he had some moments, but yeah, you have to keep going. You can't just sit back and just expect things to just constantly go your way. Just some immaturity. But Tommy, like you said, if this continues against the Red Bulls, I mean, we gotta really continue to have some further conversations.
Yeah, and Luis is one of those guys who, when he's having fun, he's unstoppable. He's playing that Brazilian type of football that's fun to watch, and it's tricky, it's quick. It's just enjoyable. But like you guys are saying, when he gets fouled too much, gets fouled too hard, he starts getting frustrated. And if he could just find the way to leave his emotions off the field, I mean, obviously, emotions are going to trickle in. I get that, but like to take it to the degree that he does, he's got to figure out a way to kind of shore that up a little bit. And because it does affect his game, and it affects his game most of the time in a bad way. And the thing is, like, none of what we're saying, I think, is a surprise. I think any of the players that we talk about today or the team as a whole, I don't think anything we're saying would be a surprise for anybody to say straight to them. I think they understand that, like, yesterday just sucked really, really bad. But I think with Luis especially, it's just a matter of you've got to be able to put these things past you. You have to understand that the league knows who you are. Like you said, Tommy, they know that you're going to get frustrated when you get fouled repeated, like over and over again. So stand them up a little bit. Stand them up. Show them that you're not going to be affected by that crowd. Let them foul you. Get the fouls. Get right back up and keep playing. Keep going. So
there was a comment made at practice, I think it was, and Pineda made a comment about how Luiz was much happier this season than he was in the previous year. And I don't remember if that was a question or it was just a comment that he brought up. But it just seems odd that that's like something that you bring up. And just in general, it's like, oh, well, now this guy's happier. I don't know. It just, because what we know and like what we see, just in the games where you can see like he shows his emotion, show how frustrated he gets. And then you just hear that comment about, well, he's happier this season. I don't know. Maybe he's just a very emotional guy, and that's just what he is. But
yeah, he wears everything on his sleeve, I think. But whatever mindset that he has at the training ground, if the coaching staff and him, if they could figure out how to keep it the same, he would be balling out every match. But it's almost like he goes into a different mindset every time he goes into an actual match as opposed to the training ground. He's super chill, super happy, having fun at the training ground. Obviously it's practice. I get it. But he's popping in, all kinds of shots, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. If he could translate that to the field, that's the Araujo that I think they know they have. They just got to figure out how to unlock him on a consistent basis.
It's gonna be fun to watch him in the next couple of months. There were rumors of teams interested in him, and if things aren't going as well as we think, there's maybe a chance that they can move on from him in the summer to be able to go add another DP on here. It's early, but I just, yeah. And yeah, I mean, they paid a lot of money for him, so it would be a loss here. But, you know, Atlanta United has a plan here, and he wasn't part of, you know, Garth didn't bring him in here. This is part of the old regime, and if they got to move on, I don't think they're going to hold back here. And, you know, again, it's early. He's got 2 goals, but there's been some other things in some of these other games where he should have more goals this year. I mean, he should. He's had multiple chances. He could have 4 or 5 goals, but he hasn't been able to finish some of those. So, yeah, I mean, this spring's going to be fun to watch him.
All right. So, moving on to the third one, and I'm going to go first on this one after we throw up our numbers. But the third one is going to be Brooks Lennon.
Ready?
I don't have anything fancy as far as a number, but yeah, let's go.
5.
All right,
4
4.
for me.
Sydney 4. Tommy with a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Nobody was good last night, but you're going to get extra points because you scored a goal. And I'm proud of him for taking the shot, because this is the kind of times I think when I don't know that you expect Lennon to maybe take that shot. Now, this season, there's been a couple times like in the preseason, and he's even had shots in matches from that kind of area, and that's something that's been kind of new in his game a little bit, and I like it. Again, you get the points because you took a shot, went in, you scored a goal. He did get, unfortunately, he got cooked on that. I think the last goal, maybe the second to last goal, he just got turned around and wasn't able to shut the angle down as Columbus dribbled into the box and put in that cross. And then, you know, he's not getting any help either from the midfield. Nobody tracked back properly. The center backs were just all over the place, but he scored a goal. So I'm going to give him that. Like that's it really. It's just, at least you kept them from keeping a clean sheet.
Columbus
as well.
Oh. Okay.
No, that's all.
But I was just
gonna
say
that's my reasoning too.
You know, he took a shot that most likely wouldn't go in on other keepers, right? But that was like my thought process of going into this: is you've got a guy that hasn't really started many games. I forget how you pronounce the Cruise keeper, Schulte, or if I'm right,
Schulte,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, yes. Getting better at these pronunciations. Yes. But when you got a guy that hasn't played, what do? You test him early. And Atlanta United did not test him early at all. And I think that was the only really shot on goal that happened there.
And there was one, I'll throw this out there too, because that's perfect point. There was one moment very early on where I think it was Barry that had a shot because Schulte was playing out of the back from like 40 yards out of goal. And Atlanta forced a turnover, one of the few that they really good turnovers they forced in a dangerous spot. And Sadic was screaming at Barry to just chip it over the top of his head because he was inexperienced. He was way out of his goal, way further than he should have been. That's a young mistake. That's what you expect. And to your point, like, you've got to test him early. I mean, the Lennon goal, perfect example, because he put it on target. It probably should have been saved. It wasn't like a screamer of a shot, but it was on target. Sometimes that's all you need, especially against a young goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to dive in on your point there, but I just had to throw that out there.
Oh, no. Thank you for jumping on it.
No, but just got to reiterate, I think we're all kind of in agreement, you know, the goal he scored kind of missed his score a little bit, but at the same time, just not good defensively, not good enough, not nearly good enough defensively from Brooks Lennon. Also from an attacking standpoint, the goal notwithstanding, but yeah, I think it sounds like we're all kind of in alignment there. More in alignment than Atlanta United's midfield, probably.
Yes. I like
nice.
it.
Nice.
Coming in with the cleverness.
if they're listening.
No, don't please don't apologize. That was good, and it was true. It was so true. All right, the last one. We're keeping it easy today, guys, because we could have just done a whole episode on the whole team, and probably gave them the same grade and made it really simple. But the last one,
Eric Lopez, right? Is it Eric Lopez? Eric Lopez played a game for Atlanta United in 2023. How I could not I couldn't believe it when he came in, like, and he looked okay. Like, I thought that he was, the game is what it was, but like he didn't look terrible, but like still it was just, you thought this guy was gone. You thought this guy was gone last year. You're like, all right, he's loaned out. What happens when Atlanta United players get loaned out? They don't come back very often to play a game for you ever again. And he hits the field, and I'm like, oh man. And there's a few listeners of this show that are Eric Lopez fanboys. And yeah, they went after me after the game. But yeah, it's just crazy. But no, Eric Lopez is not the last one, but we're going to talk about Eric Lopez on Wednesday.
Yeah, we got to chat about him. No, the last one is Brad Guzan. Got to dive in about Brad. I don't think he's got shown any love on this season yet, if I'm not mistaken.
I think one episode.
Did we?
If I remember correctly, I think after Charlotte. But
Can you give a -6?
Oh man.
No.
Oh, man. All right, I'm ready.
I feel like I'm too high, but
okay, I was gonna go with a 3.
I said 5.
Wow, we're kind of all over the place. I'm curious.
2.
I'm curious. Yeah, I got a 3. Tommy 2. Sydney 5.
All right.
I guess I'll go first. Yeah, I can go first.
You gave the highest, right, Sydney? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, how can you fault Brad Guzan for all 6 of those goals? I mean, maybe a couple of them were his fault, but my goodness, like, your defense wasn't good enough. And I want to say this, I don't want to drag it too off topic, but Noah Cobb, God bless him, just was in over his head. I have no doubt he'll be a quality center back in MLS, but last night was not good. I mean, he showed some quality, but last night, for most of last night, appeared to be over his head and out of his depth, and that's not necessarily his fault, but still, just pretty unfortunate in that regard. But I mean, I give Brad a little slack. He wasn't getting the help he needed, and obviously he was getting frustrated. He was getting upset with his defense, and for good reason. It's always tough when you see a large scoreline and you want to immediately point to the keeper and say, my goodness, the keeper stunk. And I don't think Brad Guzan was particularly good last night. I don't think anyone was particularly good last night, but I think he was terrible. I think that the defense in front of him were very poor when they need to be much better, and you can't really fault Brad too much. He was hung out to dry for most of the night. But yeah, like we said already, just a match that you just want to throw in the trash and never speak of again. But yeah, I don't really fault Brad Guzan a whole ton for this entire catastrophe. Did he have some of a hint of it? Probably, but for the most part, I mean, I point the finger at his defense, so I gave him a 5 in that regard. For, I don't know, I'm just feeling generous in the moment. But you guys go ahead and explain your ratings.
You hit him with a low one. What you got, Tommy?
So you go back and you watch the goals, and a lot of those goals nobody would have stopped. And my reasoning for such a low score was one play, just one. That pass that he gave to Ibarra, he should have immediately been a goal. At the point, you're the leader here, and we've known that Brad's not a very good passer, but usually he punts it, 5 rows onto the sideline, and then the other team gets the ball back. That's fine, but I think they were already down 1-0 at that point. pretty sure. And you need your captain to be perfect at that point. You got to settle the guys down. And that was not a way to settle these guys at all. Because my feeling throughout the game was get to halftime. If you're only down by 1, it's going to be okay. Go back, reassess what you're doing, make some substitutions, and let's figure it out and come back and at least try to go for a draw. The Gutman injury completely sent everything off there. But Brad wasn't helping with some of his passes there. He did, punch a few out of bounds. But that pass to Ibarra, I mean, that's something that can change a game completely. I know it didn't go in, but it was just a bad pass from a veteran. Like, you want to tell me any of the keepers last year did that? If Rocco did it, I'd say, okay, Rocco did it. But I don't expect something like that from Brad. And it was interesting because Sadich actually waved over like it was on him, and it was weird because I don't even know what was going on. I think he wanted Sadich to hold a guy off that was running towards Ibarra, but it just wasn't a good play there, and I think that he just needed to play a little bit smarter there. But on Twitter, a lot of people are blaming him for that. You really can't blame any keeper for that.
Yeah, I'm kind of in between. I guess the numbers are perfect because I'm kind of in between. I totally agree with your point. Like, that's not something you would expect out of Brad. But then on the other side of the coin, you got to have somebody to pass to. And you have to have somebody in front of you not leaving you out to dry. Most of the goals, I would definitely put more on, again, going back to the original group that we mentioned, the midfield trio, Ibarra and Sosa, just as well as they've done. And again, Ibarra, everywhere else in the field, did okay. Nobody did good, but he did okay. But there was something about that tracking back and picking up these late runners into the box that just didn't happen last night. Like, it was so often that you had a late run up to the top of the 18 box and a cross was coming in, and there was nobody picking that guy up. And then you're leaving your goalkeeper wide open. So Brad, you're shafting your goalkeeper at that point. His leadership, I think you definitely expect more for sure. I think you expect him to kind of get everybody on the same page, but it just didn't look like there was much of anything that was going to get them on the same page last night. That the moment you're talking about, that sequence where it looked like they were physically incapable of playing out of the back on that goal kick, or a couple of goal kicks, and not all goal kicks, but moments where Brad ended up in possession and then he's trying to play out of the back. Like, those moments, especially in the first half, looked really, really, really bad. And for a team to literally get to the point where the goalkeeper's throwing up his hands, like, where am I going to pass the ball to? That's not good. I give some credit to Columbus for their press. It was organized, and an organized press will do that to you for sure. But yeah, you can't pass it straight up the middle when you have somebody on top of Ibarra. Like, that's stuff that I tell my U12 kids not to do. Like, my goalkeeper, don't pass it up the middle when you have that much pressure on you. And I get it. Brad knows what he's doing. The whole team was off last night. Call it what you will. It is what it is. But I can't dock him a lot on the goals, I think, that went in, because they were just almost impossible. Right. So it is what it is. I think the bigger issue was definitely this team normally does so good playing out of the back, playing through pressure, and they looked lost trying to do it last night, and that is not good. Get your guys back, get reset. But this group of guys that played, they're going to be playing again together. You got Open Cup, you got Leagues Cup. The depth is going to have to play again together. They've got to figure it out. They can't have another showing like this at all.
You can't have Ibarra and Sosa playing together again. I just don't think that that's something that you can do unless you're absolutely forced to. I know that they wanted to really take it easy on Tyler Wolf and not give him that responsibility early on, but you cannot throw this midfield out again. I just don't see it working at all. One of the things I want to talk about on Wednesday, and I got to look it up, but how many homegrowns were playing for Columbus? I think a lot of those guys played together before, and they played together with the twos, and then have come up together, and it looked like a team. We look like a team that never played together. That team played like a well-oiled machine. They had a couple times where we definitely had an opportunity to do something there, but when they were moving forward together, and they knew where everybody was going to be, and that is the huge difference here. So I got to find that number, because it's definitely, you could definitely tell that these guys weren't strangers to being on the pitch together.
I'll tell you this much: Guzan's gonna be all over them in training this week. I can tell you that much right now.
And they need it, honestly. Like,
yeah,
we've talked about it, and I'll say it again, because I don't think there's anybody that plays on the team, coaching staff, anything. Like, I think they all understand that last night was unacceptable. Like, you just can't do that. Like, your team that has these big aspirations, as usual, you're not having a handful of starters should not cripple you as bad as it did last night, especially against a team that also didn't have a handful of starters for a variety of reasons. Yeah. You just can't have it again. It's unacceptable. They know it. I know they know it. They gotta learn from it, but they gotta put it behind them and move on. So,
Brad was not happy. We talked to him after the game, and Pineda, he was down, and I mean, there's no excuses at all. They know that this was a bad game, and they've got to get it figured out, because we don't know what we're going to see next week. I mean, that's a huge mystery. How much time are these guys going to be playing in the second game of the international window? Miles is probably playing. Giakoumakis maybe not, but I mean, you've got some other guys. It's going to be curious to see how much they play and who's going to be able to play what. Is Almada going to get a little bit of time? Probably, I'd assume. But you got a Red Bulls team that's upset. They have not started very well, and they are going to want to come in here, and they know that they own Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Besides the playoffs, they own this stadium, so they're going to be looking for points, and we are too. But who's going to be able to start?
Yeah, how they bounce back is going to be huge.
Yeah, indeed. Exactly.
It'll show the mindset of this team, and I think it'll set the standard for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
because the mindset is huge. So, yeah, move forward exactly like you said. Don't let the Red Bulls come and play their game. You let Columbus do it. Don't let Red Bulls do it.
I was going to make the joke to start the show. Are we back? In the negative way, because we said I had so many funny ways of like wanting to start this. Are we back? Because are we 2022 back? Because it looked like 2022, especially just long ball. Please, Araujo, get on it and run and score. Please. And then the goal hangover. I feel like I cursed it. Like I was like, I was gonna come with the glasses. Like, there's good hangovers and then there's bad hangovers. I've got the bad hangover.
Waffle House won't fix this one, guys.
No. And the Waffle Houses were closed on the way back. We tried to hit them up.
No.
Everything was screwed up yesterday.
And then, even further, with thinking of DJU, he was saying, everybody does the same thing. I got a haircut and I shaved my beard. I haven't shaved or cut my hair since the season started. I got it done to look nice for Doug when I was hanging out with Doug. And what happened? They lost.
Sami's fault.
So now we know.
Yeah.
My bad.
Back up. Let your hair grow back out, and move forward.
Yeah.
You'll find you some Rogaine and let it come in really quickly between now and then.
I don't need it. I don't need that yet.
All right, guys. It's been fun. As usual, make sure you guys are jumping back on with us Wednesday for the live show. I'll be there. I'm hoping my whole family will be home, but I'll be there because we do have other kids to take care of. So it'll be fun. We'll talk a little bit about this game and then just try to throw it in the dumpster and move forward to the next game. So make sure you're following us on YouTube and on Twitter. And that's all I got.
Like and subscribe, as always, to the channel. And, of course, our Patreon. Please subscribe to that. Thank you for those who have given to that thus far. We're going to have a shout-out to all of those folks here in a few seconds when we get done. But thank you again.
And we're gonna set up the watch along here in the next week, so we'll do that, and we're gonna have some fun.
That's right.
Cool.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks. See y'all.
See ya.